This week we're going to talk all about online advertising. This is one of my favorite topics, and so I am excited to present this to you. So here's what we're going to cover. The first is how to conceptualize a campaign, in this case an online advertising campaign. We're going to talk about the concepts of relevance and resonance and what those mean when it comes to online advertising. Where and when to use ads, so what are the different kinds of ads that are out there? What are the different platforms that you can place ads on? And why would you use each of those? And then from that, you'll be able to learn how to make good choices when it comes to creating ads and placing ads. So let's get started. First, I'll talk about how to conceptualize an online advertising campaign. And in this, we really want to rethink advertising. And I'll take you through traditional advertising and then how online advertising differs from that traditional advertising. So like I said, we'll go through traditional and online. A traditional ad should really convey and convince. It needs to convey a notion, and it needs to convince you from that ad itself, because that ad itself is self-contained, meaning that that's all you have to reference. So if you see a billboard, that's all you have. So it needs to kind of seal the deal just by the ad itself. But online, because it doesn't need to be self-contained, meaning that when somebody clicks on it, they have another experience, all you need to do in an online ad is really just tap into something. And then the page after, what happens, the place that they go when they click, is for the convincing. So you really just need to get that knee-jerk reaction or that peak of an interest. So like I was saying, also ads are self-contained campaigns in the traditional sense. So like I said, if you see, a newspaper ad, it has to be self-contained. There's no real other reference point beyond that. So it needs to address everything in one shot. An online ad, however, is really the gateway to the campaign. So once again, that experience after you click on it. So that's definitely a way that online ads differ from traditional ads. In the traditional model, ads are for consumption, meaning that ads are to be consumed, and hopefully that will change somebody's viewpoint or will get them to do the action that you want them to take. Online, ads are to be reacted to, meaning that it's, like I said, it's that knee-jerk reaction that somebody wants to, oh, I have to click on this to learn more. I need to interact with it in some way. In traditional ads, that goes to an audience, versus the online, you're building an audience, and I'll talk about that right now. Online, you never have to let an audience member go. The basic idea is to keep an audience member with you and have them engage with you over time. So what you're doing is you're not just, as in a traditional ad, getting them, convincing them, and then you release them back into the wild in a way after, say, like a television ad. You spend that 30 seconds of time with them, or if it's a newspaper ad, you spend however long it takes with them to read your ad, and then they go back into their lives, and that's the end of how you've touched them. Online, you get to keep this audience with you. You don't have to let that member, the audience member, go. So whether you're you're asking them to like you on Facebook through an ad, they're then part of your audience that you can react to or you can engage with over time. Similarly, if you get them to sign up to join your campaign off of an ad, you can go back to them over time. So what you want to do is really use online ads as a gateway to your campaign and get them to engage with you over time. And in that way, ads builds your audience. They capture people who react to your communication. You can engage with them on an issue that they care about. And because you have built this partnership with them, or you've built this base, you can call upon these people when you need them. So if you collect their email addresses, you can do an email campaign later. If they become fans of your Facebook page because they have liked you after your ad, you can go back to them, and when you need them, you can call upon them. So there are two real major factors in an online ad, and I call them relevance and resonance. And let's go through what that means specifically. So you want to ask yourself, what's the difference between relevance and resonance? You want to make sure that ads have both of these. So to me, relevance shows that when you have an online ad, you want to show that what you're doing matters to a person. It's relevant to them in their everyday life. It shows perhaps that you have something in common with them. And it also demonstrates that you have a shared goal. They're like you, you're like them, and as such, this campaign is meaningful to them. And resonance really means that you want an ad that can, inspire them, it affects them, and that it drives them to action. So what you want to do in an online ad is really show why you're advertising to them, and then beyond that commonality of showing relevance to them in their everyday life, you want your campaign to resonate with them. And when you think about online advertising, what we actually want to do in a way is think of it as almost a focus group. What you can do with an online ad, because of the way that it's structured, is you can really test themes, messages, imagery, and what you can do over time is weed out the ads that aren't performing as well, because online everything is measurable. And we'll get into measurement in the second video. But what you can do is create a campaign over time that's really relevant and that you don't waste your money with the wrong message. Traditionally, what you would do is do a focus group first in an advertising campaign and hope you get it right, and then that's kind of it. And you spend your money and you hope you get what you can get. Online, it's really this, just like the traditional marketing process where it's iterative. What you're doing is you're testing different components, seeing if it works, getting rid of ones that don't work, keeping ones that do, and you keep going over and over and over again until you really get everything correctly. And the good news is that online, everybody is a part of this focus group. And in a way, you can be relevant freely. There's a model online that we like to use. It's called cost per click, which essentially means you're only paying if somebody clicks on your ad. So if you have a terrible message, nobody is going to click on this ad. So what you can actually do, because you're not paying for 1,000 views or going to 50,000 subscribers of a newspaper, you're only paying for it if people click on it. You can test many different messages and actually see what different audiences or what the audience clicks on that's different. And you can learn some lessons. And the great thing is when you test all these different messages, see what people are clicking on, only paying for what people do click on, you can see the lessons and you can actually take that to all of your traditional communications. So if there are 5 or 6 messages that you want to test, you can run all 5. And if 40 people clicked on one and 0 clicked on another and 2 clicked on the other, you're only paying for those clicks. So you can actually do this kind of focus group testing with your ads and learn these lessons. So that's really one of the best parts of online advertising, is it's really non-committal in that you can throw everything up against the wall, see what sticks, and learn your lessons. So now that I've kind of sold the idea of online advertising, let's talk about the different ad platforms and the different opportunities that you have for placing ads. One of the most popular is Facebook ads. Then there are Google ads, and I'll show you the difference between Google search ads and Google context ads, which are different. And then banner ads. So that's basically as you go on a website and you see ads, kind of like billboard ads, but just on a website. Those are called banner ads. So if you go to CNN or MSNBC or the New York Times or the Washington Post or Fox News and you see ads there, those are banner ads. But they all have a similar step-by-step process in that a user sees the ad, a user clicks on that ad, and they're taken to something called a landing page. Whether that is a sign-up page, a website, or a like page on Facebook, you're going to a specific place. There's some sort of interaction that happens. And then in some way they join your campaign, hopefully. So even though there are different ways of doing it, which I'm going to go through right now, there's some basic steps for all of those. You see the ad, you click on the ad, you go to the page that it points to, and then hopefully you join the campaign. So let's talk about Facebook ads, which is one of my favorite kinds of ads. Why would you use Facebook? And the answer I like to give is because everybody and their grandma is on it. This is actually the Facebook page of my grandma, who is very active online, and she's quite a character. She's pretty funny, and I just love that she is on Facebook and interacting with me on a day-to-day basis, and she uses it. She's always been interested in online stuff. Apple didn't fall too far from the tree on that when it comes to my grandma and I. But the real reason is because everybody's online. It's really the number 2 destination on the web right now. And it's number 1 for time spent. And so no matter who you want to talk to, the odds are there's somebody there that's probably online and on Facebook. And so that makes it a great way to advertise to people and bring people into your campaign. So what I've found is that it's really the most effective way to communicate with specific kinds of people. When we advertise on Facebook, we are advertising to people who have identified themselves as liking something. This means that we're tapping into something really powerful because this is how they view themselves and it's also how they want others to view them. So when you advertise to somebody who might like something, so say you advertise to somebody who likes health or parenting, this is what they've identified themselves as. This is what they view their identity to be. So like I said, it's tapping into something really powerful. And if you use it correctly, it is something that's really successful. In my own experience, it's really the best return on investment that I've come across. And that's obviously a reason why I like to use it, because I found it to be very successful. And most specifically, you can really zone in on people who you want to talk to. If you know the types of people you want to reach, you can find them on Facebook and you can advertise to them on Facebook. And if you have a compelling, strong message, you can really move them in the way that you want to move them for your campaign. And so that's particularly why I love Facebook advertising. So I wanted to show you how creating Facebook ads work and then the versatility of Facebook ads based on how you want to reach your target audience. So I'm logged into Facebook. It's facebook.com/ads/manage. And if you are the manager of a page, you will get to see this page. What I basically do is I click Create Ad up here, and I'm presented with a host of options that I can choose based on what kind of results I want for my ad. So there are specific goals. Well, do I want just traffic and clicks to my website, so ads that encourage people to visit my website? Do I want website conversions? So after they click on this website, I'm usually going to ask them to take one specific type of action. And what this allows me to do is place something called a pixel, an HTML pixel, that communicates back with Facebook once those people land on the page after they take that action. So if they do a sign-up form, then they get taken to a thank you page. What I do is I put that HTML pixel on that thank you page, so it'll get triggered every time somebody then converts or takes that action that I want them to take. And so that's a fun technology. Page post engagement. So if I want to create ads that boost the number of posts and increase my number of likes, comments, shares, and video plays and photo views, basically it goes back to what I was talking about in the social media module, where only a small percentage of your fans,
these days see your posts. So if you want your fans more of your fans to see this post, and you feel as though that them seeing this post is really vital to you, and you want to increase from, say you're getting 5% usual in terms of the number of fans who see a post, but it's really important, it's something really important to your organization that they see this, maybe some interesting news, maybe a way to encourage people to re-engage with your fan page, that might be a good way to do it. You can also run ads to actually boost the number of likes to your page. And then there are some other interesting ones for developers, app installs and app engagement. If you're another organization who cares about events, you could do event responses, create ads to promote your event. Then if you're a business and you have coupons on Facebook, you can do offer claims, so ads to promote offers that you've created. So I'm just going to click on clicks to website just to show you how you go about creating these types of ads. So what you first do is you enter the URL that you want to promote. So say you have a specific page. Here I'm actually going to just type in www.colbertreport.com. Alright, so I'm going to drive people now to this website. What you get to do is you can first start to use up to 6 different images to create more ads. So it'll run specific ads based on the number of images that you choose, and then it will figure out which ones are working the best over time and show those more. The limit is 1200 by 628. It looks like actually Colbert already has one here, so we'll roll with that one. You can upload images, you can have an image library, and then you could change how they appear in your ads, adjust them, crop them, and there you go. Then what you want to do is you want to connect a Facebook page. So you want to choose a Facebook page to represent your business in the news feed. So it has to be one of the pages that you manage. So I'll just choose one here that I manage. And then you get to do some fun things. You'll get to see the different types of ads that you're going to run. One is a desktop news feed, so that is your ad in the news feed of people when they are interacting on Facebook. This will be what it looks like when somebody accesses this through a mobile device. And then there's a right column ad, so the ad that appears on the right-hand side of a Facebook page, and that's there. So let's go back to the desktop because that's definitely the most rich one and it provides the most information. So you get to have a headline, which is 25 characters. So this is a headline. Then you get to add 90 characters of text. So this is where the text field goes. And that goes there. Then you get a call to action button, which is interesting. So you can choose what you want to see. So you can click, they're pre-filled out. You could have learn more here. Or you could have sign up. Or you could basically have no button. But the call to action button, if you find that one of these things works for you, it gives them a little something to click on, which is nice. Alright, so I've created my ad, and what I can get to do is I can check again where the desktop news feed is, what it looks like on a mobile, and this is what it looks like in the right-hand column. There's also something called a news feed link description, which will generally show up underneath the headline, in between that and the link. Let me check it. It wasn't working tonight for some reason. No, it still doesn't seem to be working, but it would normally show between the headline and the link. So you've created your ad, and then what's really fun is you get to choose your custom audiences. So what you can do is, in Facebook you could upload a list, an email list, and in Facebook will match it. So if you own a list of your audience, you can upload that, and it'll match that to Facebook account information. And so you can run ads to people based off of lists you own who might not already be on your Facebook page. So if you're in higher ed, that could be alum. If it is a media campaign, perhaps you've collected this list because people have written to you, perhaps, email address and phone numbers. If it is a nonprofit, perhaps you have signups in terms of people who have been interested in learning more, or that you've collected over time, and let's say you want to reach them on Facebook with your ad. You would upload those by clicking Create New Audience, Custom Audience, and it will match that data that you have to their Facebook accounts, and you get to run ads to them. But it's really great. You can choose specific locations, so you can say, I want people in Philadelphia. You could even include a radius. You can even exclude people from locations. You can have different ages, different genders, languages. You get some really great demographic in terms of education. So did they go to a specific school? What was their education level? Work, employers, job titles, net worth and income, their home value you could choose. What generation? So they even have like baby boomers here, which is really great. If they're parents, what their politics are. So they can have donations to specific causes if they have certain political leanings. And you begin to create a pool of people. You can go by interests. So you could say, are they interested in different kinds of cuisine, restaurants. The sky is the limit really here, and you could search interests. You can search types of behavior, so if they are mobile device users, if they like to travel, and there's even more. So it's really amazing in terms of the ability to find and sculpt types of audiences. So when we talked about doing things like the consumer analysis, stakeholder analysis, and really defining things like the psychographics and the demographics and the locations, knowing your audience here and knowing what they make up and what their makeup is really key here, because you can get different ads in front of specific types of different people who care about different things, all for the same cause. So all you really need to do in this case is create an ad for that group, and then use all of these tools available to you to target them. And then as you scroll down, you can do things like a budget per day or a lifetime budget. So what you can do is you can say, I don't want to spend any more than this money for a scheduled ad campaign from this time to this time. Or you can do a daily cap. So you can say, I only want to spend $10 a day, $20 a day, $50 a day. This limits it so that you don't have to go crazy. Sometimes you want to, in an ideal world, you would reach your entire audience, but you have a limited budget. So what you get to do is scope that out. And then as time goes on, what Facebook's tool will allow you to do is choose, what they'll do is they'll let you know how many people is the potential reach for this campaign. So you'll get a number of the number of people that this ad will go to. And then what you do is you click place order, and those ads start. So it's a really fun, neat tool. Really, like I said, the ability to really zone in on specific types of people and shows different specific messaging to them. And so it's a really great tool to have at your disposal. So let's talk about Google Ads, and there are different types of Google Ads, so I'll run through those. There are a couple different things with Google Ads. The first is an organic versus a paid search result, and I'll show you what that is. And there are different ways in which ads can be placed. So the first is the search results, and the second is a content network. And so let's first take a look at number one, organic versus paid search results, and then I'll show you the difference between a search ad and a content ad. So I typed in shoes here on Google, and here are the results, and I can show you what is organic and what is paid. Paid ads, which you can see on the top, they're usually, if they're on the top, they're with a yellow backdrop, and to the right you can see it says ads, and then it gives a listing.
those are all paid search results. That means that somebody bid on, if somebody types the word shoes, I want my ad to be there. And so they've paid for it. And then below, where it says organic, that's essentially due to search engine optimization or because they're a popular page, because Google ranks them. They show up when you search for that keyword. So that is not paid. That's just because they have done a really good job at creating content that Google values. And so when people search for that, that pops up. So you'll never be able to, unless you do a really good content campaign or you're a really valued organization, it's harder to show up on the organic side. But however, you can always search, you can always search for keywords or create a keyword list and then appear in the paid side. And so what I'm going to show you when I talk about paid search ads or just search ads in general is showing up there. So when people click on a certain, type a certain keyword and click to search, that you show up there. And why would you go ahead and even do that? So here's actually how you would do it. You would go into Google, adwords.google.com, and you would create a text ad. You would write your headline, your description, your URL, and the destination URL or the landing page. And that's how you would create a search ad, just to show you in context there. And then let's talk about search and content ads. So search ads come from a result of the Google search. That's just exactly what you saw. So that's one specific type of Google ad. Another type of Google ad is a content ad, and that happens when people visit a website. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I'm on WebWorker Daily and I see to the right there's that content ad, it's basically imagery for the most part. So this is the same thing as a banner ad that I was talking about. So like when you go to New York Times and you see the ads there. But the good thing about Google is they've created a lot of partnerships with websites. So if you're a website owner, you can sign up with the Google Content Network. And what you've done is basically allowed Google to lease out a certain amount of space on your website. So rather than, if I'm the ad placement person, rather than negotiating through a vendor or through the website, I can just go right into Google and Google AdWords and target based on interests, and they'll tell me all of the websites that I can place an ad on, including in this case, say WebWorker Daily if I want to target tech people. So this is based on Google's relationship with the website, that they've allowed space to be taken out on their page. And then what I would do is if I was the ad person who wants to place an ad, I would use Google's AdWords campaign and target based on interest or however I want to do it, and create ads and upload them, and they will show up on the pages of my choosing. So it's different than the search results. Google search, like I said, Google search is when somebody actually types something. You're triggered as an ad as a result, and the content network is this imagery that you see on websites, and Google does both of those. So why would you use either? When we're using search, we're building lists or we're targeting people who are searching about something. So when we're doing ads on Facebook, right, we're targeting people who have identified themselves in the past as of liking something. When we're doing a search ad on Google, what we're doing is if somebody's curious about a topic, our search ad will show up. So it's very active. It's very based on somebody wanting a specific piece of knowledge at that moment and at that time. So what you do when you do a search ad is you're getting in front of people on specific topics. And so that means that it's really great for visibility. If I'm a guitar shop and I have somebody searching for guitars and they're based in Philadelphia, I want my ad to show up so that it's visible and that I get in front of people who are searching for something right now. And then, so why would you use the content network as opposed to the search ads? Like I said, these are based on websites that lease ad space. And through Google, you place your ads on these spaces. And the real benefit of it is rather than negotiating with different websites, Google gives you this whole nice dashboard to show you how your ads are performing. So you can very much real time say, I don't want this isn't working, I want to go someplace else, rather than putting a lot of money and having this sunk cost in paying for a space on a website. You don't have to cancel that buy or damage a relationship. What you can do is it allows this a lot of flexibility, and you can change the places you put the ads, or you can even change the creative ads as situations develop. So if you find that this one ad isn't working, you can just quickly swap it out with something else. It allows for a lot of flexibility. And beyond the content network, not to confuse you even more, I hope I'm not, there are different types of placements that you can place with Google, and each have a different value. So these can be three types: managed, contextual, and remarketed. And I'll show you what each of those means. The great thing about placement types is the user doesn't know which one they're experiencing. They all look the same. So when you do a managed ad, that means you can choose specific sites to place ads on. I want this to be on New York Times, I want this to be on CNN, I want this to be on this website, that website that I've identified as valuable to me, and Google will tell me if I'm eligible, if those places have agreements with Google, and I can actually take out space there. Contextual means that Google chooses sites based on keywords or subject matter. So if I want websites that are based on health or charity, or are based on pets and pets owners, I can just say, all right, Google, find me the sites that you partner with that are about this subject matter. And Google will tell me what those are. I'll place an ad and it will show up in those places. So rather than knowing things specifically in advance in the managed style, you can also do it contextually based on subject matter. So that's a nice option. And then perhaps you've seen these. There are remarketed ads, which means that they are kind of follow ads that follow you once you've been to a website. So if you've been to Zappos.com, or you've been to Men's Warehouse, or sometimes they do this on pest control websites. So say you see a roach and you go to the Orkin website, they'll actually have ads that follow you after, that show a roach crawling because you were on the roach website. And it's pretty gross, but it's pretty effective. So those are kind of those follow ads that follow you once you've been to a website. And you could do all three of these on Google. So here's managed ads. So like I said, this is based on, you can enter the names or URLs of sites that you want to advertise on. And you put in the URLs and you kind of create this list. And only Google needs to approve these ads, not the website, so it happens really quickly. And then the ad goes live, and then you pay as people click. So that's a way to do that managed ads, choosing specific websites you want to be on. Then there's contextual websites. So what you can do is choose based on keyword. So here I've done a search for the category is poverty. Say I'm a nonprofit. And then I can choose different categories that Google has said, these are a bunch of websites that deal with this issue, and you could just run your ad on those. So in this way, you're not targeting by specific entities or specific websites, you're targeting based on interests or what that specific website covers. And then the remarketing ads. So what happens there is once you've been to a website, something is called a pixel is downloaded, and it tracks the user across the internet. And you can see where privacy concerns come into play. A lot of privacy advocates don't like remarketing ads. They are very effective, however. And then your ad appears whenever a user goes to that website and that participates in the Google Content Network. And so if you go to WebWorker Daily or whatever, the ad from Zappos or the Orkin Man will show on websites. And that's a pretty effective way to engage with somebody. And it's kind of neat to see. And the data is always anonymous. So like Zappos will never be able to say, oh yes, Brad Levinson, you've been on our website. So it's a little, it's pretty safe, but it can actually be pretty bothersome in a way because, it feels kind of stalkerish. So there are pros and cons of that kind of remarketing ad. So these are all things to consider when you place an ad itself. And then the third kind of ad is a banner ad. What you do there is you individually negotiate and place ads. So say you wanted an ad on the New York Times website and Google said, listen, we don't partner with the New York Times, but you really want it to be on the New York Times. You can individually negotiate with that website and create those ads. So I like to use banner ads where I negotiate individually if it's not part of the Google Content Network. So you email them the creative, they post it in exchange for money, and it's kind of this negotiated process. So why would you use banner ads? The first, like I said, is when sites that you want to advertise to aren't on the Google Content Network. A con, is that there's a sunk cost, there's a lack of flexibility, and it has a poor return on investment. That means that if you say, I want to spend $10,000 on the New York Times ad, NewYorkTimes.com, and it's not really working, well, you've just given $10,000 to the New York Times, and you can't pull out. So there's a concern there in terms of return on investment. It becomes what we call a sunk cost. At the same time, there are benefits to it. It's a really good relationship builder. So let's say you want to really advertise on a local blog. You want to support this blog and you support what this person is doing. You can run an ad on that website. So in that regard, it's a good relationship builder. People tend to like you when you give them money. Who would have thought? But that basically means that you can use ads as a strategic way to build partnerships. And when you want to focus less on targeting and return on investment and you want visibility, sometimes somebody says, we really need to be on that website. I want to be there. That's a good time to use banner ads. You're focusing less on return on investment and you just want to be there. You want to ensure that when somebody goes to this website, your ad is there. That's a good way to use banner ads.